What's up, and War Eagle War Report family? It's your guy, Ike Jones, and we are back with another morning drop. Today, it's Faxing Off Friday, and we are getting down to the wire coming up on early signing day, and we ask for your questions regarding that. Let's get straight to it. Y'all know how we do War Report style. Let's drop it on them.
You are now listening to the War Report.
Morning drop Friday, December 15th. We are in here, Ike Jones, Mike G, doing it facts or now style on a Friday. Mike G, how we feeling this morning?
Pretty good. Signing day is one day closer. So we can put a lot of this stuff to bed soon. I'm sure we got some recruiting questions in here for facts or no, but I'm ready for signing day.
Yeah, absolutely ready for it. Ready to see what is what. Before we get into the conversation, y'all do us a favor. Share the video at the War Report out there on all your social media and send it to somebody via email, text message them a link, throw your phone at them with it showing on and be like, hey, take a look at something I got going on right here. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. That helps us with our YouTube engagement, and we appreciate all of that. Mike G, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. We got a lot of questions. They were all of the same variety. So we don't have a lot of submitted questions from Twitter because it would just be us answering the same question in a different flavor over and over again.
Okay.
But we are going to get into it. If you guys don't know, Thursday before Faxing Off Friday, we put a tweet out asking for you guys to submit questions in advance. And we appreciate everybody who continues to interact with us in that way. We do have a couple of them here, but again, it's going to be the same variety of stuff. Pretty much people asking this question in a lot of different flavors. So we'll start it off with Patrick Rice, who's tweeting at Patrick D. Rice, who says, will Auburn end up with a top 10 class when it's all over?
All right, so hear me out. They are reportedly on the verge of flipping the kid from Florida. Amaris Williams, I think. But if you Saban had an in-home with Perry Thompson, very late in the process. Now Perry can't come until after spring. So to me, this is a question about whether Perry Thompson sticks with his class or not. And I'm gonna bug on this one. I'm gonna say facts, Auburn ends up with the top 10 class. I think they find their way to a top 10 class somehow.
Yeah, I think facts. Auburn's already on the verge as far as commitments of a top 10 class. I don't see a lot of the currently committed players moving away from Auburn, and I do think Auburn has an opportunity to land some additional players. Just in sheer number, I think we'll probably land somewhere around 25 in this class before National Signing Day is done. And I think that plus a flip of someone who's ahead of Auburn in the current signing class will get Auburn to a place of being in the top 10. So I think we're going to go facts on this one. Top 10 class for Auburn in the first full offseason for Coach Hugh Freeze and his staff. And then everything, again, is a remix of this, which is saying Maine the Conqueror tweeting at Mr_Aaron_Jordan, who says, facts or not, Auburn adds a surprise recruit not on everyone's radar, similar to K.N. Lee last year.
Ooh, a surprise. Man, they've already had a lot of surprises. I'm going to go with facts on this one as well, too. I think coming down to the wire, there's some names that a lot of people like to focus on, but there are other names that the staff isn't telling everybody every move they're making. So I'm gonna go with facts on this one. I think that Auburn pulls out a surprise recruit here that's not on anybody's radar. They've got needs to fill, and that's the thing that gets lost in this conversation. It's not just about going after stars. You have needs and holes to fill based on roster attrition. And I think that's where the surprise comes from people, because they're more focused on this kid and that kid rather than, the needs that need to be filled at certain positions on this team.
Yeah, I'm going to go facts on this as well. I think that there is going to be someone who we're going to look up on either early or National Signing Day and be like, what? Where did that one come from? Like, I didn't really know that there was smoke around that one. So I think that there is going to be a flip that's going to happen that's going to surprise some people. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. Again, I could go through and read a bunch of these other ones, but they are going to be remixes of that. It's going to
Okay.
be questions about: are we going to flip Ryan Williams? Are we going to flip LJ McCray? Are we going to flip this guy? Are we going to flip that guy? Um, and that would feel like a rehashing of the same thing over and over again. And I mean, let's just go through the list, I guess, really quickly, because and let's just talk confidence rating on the ones that keep popping up on everybody's list. All right.
Okay.
Ryan Williams, how you feeling about whether or not Auburn at this, if you're giving it a scale of 1 to 10, where do you feel today about the Ryan Williams situation?
5. 50-50. I mean, this is a guy who's a Bama commit. He committed to Alabama. He reclassified. He's been getting a ton of pressure from the Auburn side to try to reclassify, like to try to flip his commitment. I'm 50-50 on this one. They're starting the conversations really well. They're opening really well. Ultimately, closing is about how many tools you have in your tool belt to be able to close a kid that's on the fence between you and Nick Saban. And let me tell you something. Nick Saban has hella tools in his tool belt. He's got proof of concept. He's got great quarterback play. He's got a history of winning. He's got a current playoff run he's in the middle of. He's got a previous playoff run he was in the middle of. Like, he's got the allure and mystique of playing at Alabama. Hugh Freeze is trying to create that. So he's selling something that doesn't quite exist yet, but he's working on, which is why I'm 50-50 on this one. I think it's great that they even got in the door with this kid after he was a hard commit to Alabama. However, we'd be remiss and foolish to not consider that Alabama is still a premier program for high school students to go to if they want to play pro. So,
yeah, I'm right in that same range. Probably a little less optimistic than you are. I'd probably go 4.
4, yeah,
Yeah,
all right.
but yeah, I think that it's not impossible, but there's still some work left to do, and I don't even know that he does anything on early signing day. So he can't be on campus. So signing early doesn't really give him any benefit because he still has to finish out school in order to reclass. So, yeah, I don't know. Already talked about this one, but Amaris Williams, currently a Florida commit. What's your confidence rating right now on that one?
I'm about a 9 on this one. Some people that I trust say that this kid is coming, and I believe them. So 9 out of 10, Amaris Williams will be in Auburn. You are an Auburn Tiger, sir.
Yeah, I feel really good about this one as well. I just think that Florida, man, they're struggling right now. Florida is struggling right now. I feel like Auburn's going to be a good spot for him, considering what we've lost already on that defensive line, and we've already got some folks that are leaning this direction from Florida, well, have moved in this direction from Florida that were in that class, Jamonte Waller, right? So I feel really good about the possibility of adding him. LJ McCray.
5. 5 on LJ. I'm really iffy here. Like I said, some of these kids, man, Hugh Freeze is doing a great job. He is. I think you could only take so many kids in one class. I mean, we'll see. This kid, another 5-star. I mean, it would be a ridiculous pickup. LJ McCray would be a ridiculous pickup. And they could use some reinforcement along the D line, I think, obviously, in recruiting. But this would give Auburn potentially their 4th top 50 kid. Right. And to put that in perspective for you, I think Bama only has 2 top 50 kids right now. So Rayola and
which Rayola was a Georgia commit, so he flipped his commitment. So
yeah, and Ryan Williams, who just reclassified. So On Georgia's side, they've got hella commitments, all right, in the top 50. I think they're already at like 6. So to get 4 out of that slice of the pie would be pretty incredible. Um, they've got better proof of concept on the defensive side of the ball, obviously, than they do on the offensive side of the ball. I'm 50-50 on this one, man. Like, I mean, listen, I know he was committed. I know Florida's going through some things right now. Like, they're going through some things. They're hurting down there in Florida.
Mhm.
Therapy's not going well. However, I don't know, man. Maybe a 6. Maybe a 6 on
I was
LJ.
about to say I'm a little more optimistic. I'm
Maybe a
probably going
6
to
on
go
LJ.
closer to 6 on this one. I think that we've got a good shot of flipping him. But there's a lot of, and this is a thing where this is part of the reason why I am not as panicky as some people are about the transfer portal right now. I think that this staff is really trying to figure out what they're going to do with the future of this program, and they are committed to the high school recruiting and getting guys in. Even though those guys could leave at some point in time, they want to solidify a plan and they can execute over the next 2 to 3 years, as opposed to saying, let's go with the win now strategy and just go get somebody who can be in a definite difference maker right now. They're going to fill in, I think, some difference makers once they've determined what this high school class is definitely going to look like. So, and I think that some of these very talented young men are part of that. And so I'm going to be a little bit more confident there on LJ and go closer to like a 6 or even maybe a 7 for him. Then the last big one, of course, is KJ Bolden. What are we feeling right now as it stands with young KJ, the
Yeah,
current
that's
Florida State
you.
commit?
Yeah. Again, same thing. It would be a ridiculous commit for this staff. They put the fourth quarter press on KJ as well too. Uh, like I think that I'm gonna go with a 2.
Mm.
I don't think KJ's coming.
I'm a little more optimistic. I think it's 50-50 right now. I'll go
Mhm.
5 on my KJ Bolden. But I think it's going to be difficult. Florida State, I think, is still firmly in control on this one, and this one's going to go up to the down to the wire.
Yeah, apparently Georgia has made some, pretty strong overtures that have gotten to him as well too. That's why I'm so low. I'm like, the schools that Auburn is up against right now are currently top 6 schools. I don't know, man. If Georgia's in the race here for KJ, I don't like Auburn's chances.
Yeah, I still feel about a 5. So hopefully we will get, well, not hopefully, we will definitely get some answers on all of these things coming up here really soon. All right. Enough of all of that. Let's get over into the questions that you all have for us in the live chat. We appreciate you guys live chatting in here. Today's sponsor of Facts or Nah is our good folks at Manscaped. You gotta love Manscaped when they are involved because they have the best ad reads, and I love reading everything that Manscaped sends us. So, Manscaped is the one-stop shop for your holiday needs. They have the perfect gift in the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, which includes loads of perfect stocking stuffers. What could be better than giving the gift of good hygiene and a few laughs? Starting with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, this is the crown jewel of the holidays and, dare I say, the best ball trimmer of all time. The electric razor's advanced skin-safe technology is a lifesaver and known for reducing nicks and cuts on Santa's on his Santa sack. That's amazing. Oh, man. Anybody in the family have too much scruff? Look no further than Manscaped's Beard Hedger Pro Kit and Handyman Electric Face Shaver for all of the facial hair needs. Get 20% off and free shipping with code RAPPORT at Manscaped. That's 20% off with free shipping at Manscaped. Use code RAPPORT and say ho, ho, ho to a well-groomed mistletoe with Manscaped. All right. Let's get over here to this comment section and see what you guys are talking about today. We appreciate everybody for jumping in. We'll get the convo started off with Prince Chuku, who says, Facts or Not, Ron Roberts is a better DC than Kevin Steele.
Facts. Stop the steal. Stop the cap. Stop everything. Ron Roberts is a better DC.
Yeah, I go facts on this one. I think Ron Roberts is a good DC. Don't get me wrong, and I love what he did his days here at Auburn. I just think, excuse me, that Kevin Steele's a good DC, and I love what he did his days here at Auburn. I just think Ron Roberts, from a just scheme perspective, does some better things. You're gonna get a ding on Ron Roberts' resume for the Iron Bowl this year
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the game, but overall, I think that he comes in with good game plans, good scouting for teams, and he makes good adjustments during the game. I'm going to have to go facts on this one. I'll take old Ronnie over Kevin. P-Pass says, faction all Auburn runs USC out of the gym. Expect LeBron Jr. to shoot 12 free throws.
Facts.
Hmm.
I think USC's very good, bro. I think facts. Auburn's on fire right now. I'm going with the Tigers. A lot of people talking mess, talking about the ticket prices are because of Bronny. Bronny hasn't done crap this year. He will continue that on Sunday.
Yeah, I think Auburn wants some get back. Facts on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Lost last year at USC. Gonna be in the jungle. Auburn plays inspired basketball in the jungle. And yeah, I think that Auburn's the better basketball team. I don't know about running them out of the gym, but they're definitely going to make it a bad day for USC fans. I feel Auburn's got a really good chance of coming out with victory on this one. I'll go facts on this one as well. Jonathan Boyson says, faction now, does Auburn finish with a top 6 recruiting class? So we're up in the ante from 10 all the way into 6 with this one from Boyson.
No, I'm going no. I think they finish in the top 10. Top 6 is going to be a little tough to pierce, but no.
I'm gonna go facts on this one.
All right.
Yeah, I think I was very much away from this earlier. I think we did talk about this actually a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I think we're gonna get close to the top 10. Don't know if we get into the top 10. Now I feel like we've got a potential, because I feel like we flip 1 or 2 recruits from schools that are in front of us currently, and I feel like we retain most of the people that are currently committed. And I feel like we're going to round out the numbers to get to closer to 25. We're at 20 right now. I think we get closer to 25 total recruits, that we have an opportunity to get there into the top 6 with with 2 flips from guys in front of us and additional numbers of like 3 more people, maybe 4, because I don't know that all of the 20 recruits we currently have are going to stay, but the majority will. I think we have a chance to get to the top 6. I'll go facts on this. I'll book a little bit. AU in the USMC says, faction not Ole Miss is still broken ugly.
Facts.
Listen,
facts.
man,
they
have
don't care
not,
about the 10 and 2.
yeah, they have not changed. They will eternally be broken ugly. Listen, it is what it is. And let me, again, for those of you who don't know the origin of the broken ugly thing, this was never about how much money Ole Miss has. Yeah, Ole Miss has money. They're a school in a Power 5 conference. It was more about me understanding that it was a metaphor about they're the broken ugly dude trying to get the pretty chick, and that's just not how that works. Like, you're always going to be broken ugly. You'll be broken ugly for your whole life probably. So it is what it is. You can get cosmetic surgery, but your soul's still ugly. So facts. Jordan Martin says, facts or not, he just dropped out, but Jay Fair's returning to Auburn in next season. I'll go facts today on that. I don't know. That's a fluid reality with the transfer portal. So asking today, I'll go facts. I'll answer for Mike G on this one. I don't know what his answer would be, but I feel today the answer to that question is facts. Jay Fair remains with Auburn. Chris S. says, facts or not, we grab a high school offensive tackle in this class. Good question here. I think the goal is to do that. And honestly, that might be one of the recruits that we see that's a surprise. I think, we just got the JUCO OT offensive tackle from out there at Snow College. But a high school offensive tackle is probably pretty high on the list. We need to be able to fortify our offensive lines, particularly at the tackle position. I think that's a goal for this staff. So I don't know if it happens by early signing day, but I do think that we sign an offensive tackle in this class, so I'll go facts. Another one from Chris S. here, excuse me, who says, facts or not, somebody in this class starts next year. This is a big facts for me. Somebody in this class is going to be a starter before the end of this season. Whether it's game one or not, before the end of this year, somebody's going to start. We already saw Keldrick Falk from the last class come in and start for Auburn last year. Connor Lew came in and stepped in as a starter from this last class. Kayan Lee was a starter at points in the season. That's going to happen again from this class this season. So I'm going to go big facts on this one. We've got a lot of talent, and there is going to be a high level of starting caliber talent coming in during this class, and it's going to happen during this season. Let's see here. Charles Allen, facts or nah, Eugene Asante comes back for 2024. I'm very 50-50 on this right now. I did see on his social media that he was intending to make an announcement today, and I'm thinking that announcement, I mean, I don't know what else he could be announcing, but besides whether or not he intends to return for this season. I am very 50-50 on Eugene Asante right now. I think that he would get drafted if he goes this year. The question for him is whether or not he wants to raise his draft stock and risk another season. Some of that's going to come down to whether or not the NIL is going to make sense for him versus what he's going to be making in the league. I think that Auburn is willing to make a commitment to him. So I'm going to put my fan glasses on, and I'm going to say facts here that he's going to return. I felt a little bit more leaning in the opposite direction a few days ago, but I feel as if they're making some big overtures right now about what they should do with him. And again, when we talk about movement of players in the portal and what they're going to need to do on early signing day, I think that they want to know from him, hey, we need to know where you are before we make this last push for a couple of people out here, either in the transfer portal or in this signing class. I think that I feel good about it right now. I'm going to go facts. Still like teetering on the edge of a nah on this one, but I'll go facts. Chris S., another one here, says facts or nah, 2 members of this class make an all SEC freshman team. This is a good question. 2 members of the class, all SEC freshmen. Let me think about this for a second here. I'm going to go facts. I'll go facts on this. I'll go facts. I think that we had 3 from, it wasn't from this last class. 2 from this last class made it last year or this season. I'll go facts that we get 2 this year just because I feel like how much time we're going to get on the field. One thing you have to think about is it's not necessarily about the talent. Sometimes it's about the playing time. Guys like Connor Lew don't make the all-SEC freshman team if Avery Jones doesn't go down and we don't get an opportunity to see Connor Lew. And how many starting centers or centers do you have across the SEC that get enough time to be considered for all freshman team? So there's an element of this that's going to be about who's available to play. I believe that we will have a wide receiver that will make the all-freshman team because of the amount of playing time that those freshman wide receivers are going to get. I think that there is an opportunity for someone along that defensive front, right? Whether it is a interior D lineman or a jack linebacker. You know, I think the Jamonte Waller is another one that I would look at as a potential guy to come in and be a difference maker in sub packages early in the season. And this is all assuming he hasn't announced that he's going to leave, so I'm going to assume that he's coming back. Jalen McLeod comes back as the starter there. And so I think that he has an opportunity to come in and be a guy that's going to be a difference maker as well. Then you have to look at somebody in the defensive secondary, right? We still have some work to do there as to who we're going to be starting in that. So I think that we have an opportunity for some rotational guys to get some play there. I can't see it anywhere else. Again, if Asante comes back and he's healthy, Austin Kings come back and he's healthy, those are going to be your primary starters at linebacker. We do rotate linebackers pretty heavily, and we've got some talented guys in the linebacker core coming in. Are they going to start enough, play enough to be guys that make all SEC? Anyway, the answer was question was 2. I'll go with 2 facts on that one. We're going to get 2 freshmen on the all SEC list for Auburn this year. I'll go facts. Let's see. There are a lot more in here that I didn't get a chance to star while we were doing our Twitter questions. Anthony Richardson, number 1, says, facts or nah, we start Walker White. I'm going to go nah on this one right now. Without having seen a single snap or no injuries, anything right now, if we're looking at what our quarterback room is today, walking into spring, it's going to be in this order: Peyton Thorne, Holden Geriner, Walker White, Hank Brown, 3A, 3B. Like Hank Brown is a young man, I think, that's kind of a dark horse in this situation because I don't know enough about him, haven't seen him do enough to really know where he is in his development. But I don't think Walker White cracks the top 3, the top 2 on the depth chart, unless Holden takes a tremendous step back or Peyton Thorne falls completely off. Like I think it's Peyton Thorne's job to lose right now, and Holden has a solid grip on the number 2 spot. So we'll see. Let's see. Eric Montgomery, facts or nah, next season Auburn throws for more than 3,000 passing yards. I'm going to go nah on this one today. I just haven't seen enough from that passing attack to make me believe that. I think that we throw the ball more next season, and I do think that we have some different weapons that are going to be available on the outside, a little more continuity with the existing weapons. Going to have to see what this offensive line looks like. You're going to have to replace 3 starters along that line. Connor Lew is already going to replace one of them, and I'm counting Avery Jones as a starter, as a guy who started the first game and the majority of the games this season. So you're going to have to replace Avery Jones, Gunnar Britton, and Cam Stutz along that offensive line. We've got some good options available there to do that. Still got to figure out what that tackle situation is going to look like. Isaiah Miller going to be returning. Is he going to be able to progress and take the next step? Dylan Wade going to be returning. Is he even going to be the tackle? Is he going to kick into a guard position? So you got some unproven stuff out there. That offensive line is going to be a big portion of how the evolution of this offense goes, because the run game was big for us in some spots. And if you can continue to get that run game moving with some of the people movers that we do have on that interior offensive line that are coming back, and figure out how to get a little bit better at blocking up on the outsides with the pass blocking and your tackles, then you absolutely have this opportunity, because you're going to be able to be so effective in your run game. But I'm not going to go facts on this right now for 3,000. I think that's a little high of a number based upon what I know today. Let's see here. Corey Weber says, facts or not, Jarquez won for 136 yards in the bowl game. That's an oddly specific number, 136. That must mean he needs 136 yards to get to 1,000 yards on this season. So Corey Weber is, in a very sly way, asking me, does Jarquez Hunter get to 1,000 yards on the season? 136 yards. I think, you know what? I think Auburn's going to be committed to trying to get this. The question is going to be, and I haven't looked into this a lot, and we'll get way more into the bowl game next week and the week after. And I'll start looking more in earnest at what Maryland has and who Maryland's actually. And this is the thing that people have to remember too. Bowl games are weird now because of how many people don't play in the bowl game and what teams are going to like. There's going to be a lot of newness and things that we don't know about this football team going into this bowl game because of the number of players that have been playing significant snaps that will not be playing. A lot of this is going to have to do with, for Jarquez Hunter specifically, who Maryland even has, right? Like, is Maryland going to have enough guys that are talented enough to, because Auburn's going to likely along their offensive line have all of their starters, right? All of the starters are going to be here for Auburn along the offensive line. None of those guys that I've heard of are sitting out the bowl game. So you're going to have your offensive line intact there. And I think that bodes well if Maryland specifically is not going to have all of their defensive starters. So Auburn's going to lean heavily on the run in this bowl game. Jarquez is going to get his fair share of touches in this game. There's no reason, unless it's a blowout, to pull him out of the game. So he's going to continue to get touches. I think Damari Alston's going to get his share of touches in this game, but I believe that there's a good chance that he breaks the 1,000 yards. So I'll go facts on this one for you, Corey. Let's see here. Dun, dun, dun. Any more facts or not that are interesting out here? Chris S. is fixated on the offensive tackle position right now. As facts or not, one of our starting offensive tackles are in the portal. I have not looked at offensive tackles in the portal to any high degree, so I don't know what talent exists out there that is better than who we have. I'm going to go no on this. I don't think that we get a starting offensive tackle out of the portal today. I'm going to say no today just because of I don't have enough knowledge to give a definitive facts on this. So I'll err on the side of caution and say nah until I've done a little more research on this as to who's available and how much of an upgrade that availability is over what we have. Again, I've said this plenty of times before. Quality offensive linemen in the portal are not easy things to come by. Typically, if you are a good starting offensive lineman, you're not leaving where you are. Offensive line is not one of those positions that frequently has good starters leave, particularly in the first portal window. So you're going to have to. Let me alter. Quality P5 starters, right? Like you can have a G5 person that wants to make the league up, i.e. Dylan Wade, Gunnar Britton, Avery Jones, right? All starters for Auburn last season, all came from Group of 5 schools the previous season. So you can get solid starters. At the offensive tackle position, I don't know that there is one of those guys that's available, but I think that Auburn will add another tackle either via the high school class or via the portal. I don't know which of those things will happen, but I expect another offensive tackle because we have so many solid interior linemen. I think you need more depth at the exterior. So we'll see what happens with that. But today I'm going to go that we don't get a starter out of the portal. So we'll look forward to seeing what happens with that. All right, that's it, man. I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you all dropping in with me on another Facts or Not Friday. As always, the morning drop is brought to you by Rogue Shop. Make sure you head over to rogueshop.com and use code RAPPORT when you do that to get a little something off your purchase. America's #1 online dispensary is Rogue Shop. When you go there, you can find stuff for sleep, stress, anxiety, and pain, as well as just some really good smelling candles and things of that nature. So you guys head over there to rogueshop.com. Use code RAPPORT when you do that. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video before you get out of here. We'll be back at you guys with more content this weekend. Again, Auburn versus USC is coming up this Sunday. The women's basketball team is taking on Norfolk State tomorrow, and there's probably going to be plenty of other things happening this weekend that you guys can get into from an Auburn standpoint. I don't have a full list of that, but doesn't really matter. It's all Auburn, so support it anyway. Holla at you guys next time. Until then, and as always, War Eagle, I'm out of here.